guys, how's it going? Rain here, and I figured I'd give you what is now my favorite new deck coming into Battle for Zendikar Standard. Is definitely the one I'm going to play, by the way. I was going to play some version of Abzan, but after seeing how this deck runs, there's just no way I'm passing this up. This has so many good matchups, it's just actually just resilient and powerful. You can just win games from 20 life to 0, no problem. So what we have here is the latest version of Aristocrats. For those of you who don't know about Aristocrats, it was a deck originally based around Falkenrath Aristocrat and Cartel Aristocrat back in Innistrad that relied on sacrificing creatures and getting value for doing so. So this deck runs on a few bases. You have the creatures you want to sacrifice, Blister Pod, you have Hangerback Walker, which does count as a creature you want to sacrifice at a certain point. You have Sultai Emissary as well. So you have 12 really good creatures to sacrifice here. And that's just part one. Part two is you have the sacrifice outlets, like the things that sacrifice your creatures. You have Nantuko Husk and Evolutionary Leap to do that. And the things that get you value for doing so. That's Liliana, Cutthroat, and Abzan Ascendancy. This deck is very good against Wrath effects because, you know, if they Wrath your board with a Blister Pod or a Sultai Emissary, you're not too sad. And with the Blood Artist effect, you can actually just drain your opponent out if they kill too many creatures. Notable things about the deck: Abzan Charm's too good not to play. Liliana's really good when she's flipped. Like, you get a 2/2 to sack, as well as you can just like get back a Blister Pod with her -X ability, and this is actually surprisingly powerful with this deck. She can't really get back Hangerback Walker, but that's totally fine. It doesn't actually have as many issues with flyers as a lot of junk decks do have, just because you have cards like Abzan Ascendancy and Hangerback Walker sacrificing reliably. Like, you can kill your own Hangerback Walker if you really need to. So this deck does do better against flyers. The goal is, just to kill your opponent with Nantuko Husk and Cutthroat and Abzan Ascendancy, I guess. Let's dive into the sideboard real quick. We can talk about it. A Rashing Cleric. I'm not totally convinced that aggressive decks are going to be very good post-rotation, but I'm guessing there's still going to be some people playing Mantis Riders and some type of aggressive show with Exquisite Firecraft and Abbot of Carolkeep. And a Rashing Cleric has already seen quite a bit of play in boards for that sort of purpose. It does really well against Abbot if they don't have the Prowess trigger, and even if they do, it just chumps it, gains you 3. And you can also sacrifice it, so that's another plus. Den Protector against the control decks, like you can flip it up, get back the pieces of the puzzle you're missing. Very good card for sure. Elvish Visionary. Again, it feels like this is more for the controlling matchup. This is a very good card. You're already getting value for playing this, and you can just sacrifice it and don't have any worries about it. Yeah. Sorin. This is again for more controlling decks, or for flying decks potentially. The lifelink swing is really big, but getting the Planeswalker on the board is even bigger. So if you're against like an aggro on the ground deck that you already have a pretty good matchup against, Sorin just locks it out. Against control decks, he just puts out vampires. It's hard to get value against this guy, and I could see an argument for a main deck. He's just a little too expensive in the game 1. 3 Bone Splinters against mid-range. Just a good deal to sacrifice your 1/1 that gets a 1/1 when it dies and kill their creature. And lastly, Self-Inflicted Wound for the other Abzan decks in the format. Should be noted that there isn't a lot of tech in this deck at the moment for the mirror match, and the mirror match is something I want to play, but it's going to be hard to find somebody on Cockatrice to play this mirror match and see just how it goes. I'm guessing it has a lot to do with Hangerback Walker and Abzan Ascendancy, and to a lesser extent Liliana. But past that, it's pretty equal. Everybody's just blocking Mantuko Husk. Alright, and that's it for the deck tech. It's time to get into some games.